أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام على warathatil ambiya. Warathatil ambiya is where we have reached in the ziyarat. Waratha, very quickly to recap last session. Waratha is the plural of warith, and warith means one who inherits that which belonged to another based on either a blood relationship, such as a parent and child, a child inherits from their parent, or another kind of relationship, such as marriage. This can apply to material things and also metaphysical, non-material things. Ambiya wa warathatil ambiya. Ambiya is, of course, plural of nabi, meaning prophet. So here we are saying basically, peace be upon the inheritors of the prophets. Ahlulbayt, you are the inheritors of the prophets, right? Now, not to go too much into last session, but one thing we have to state before we go any further. We said last time that the true bequether, the true one who actually gives things to people is always Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inna al-arda lillahi yurithuha man yasha'u min ibadih. The earth indeed belongs to Allah, and He gives its inheritance to whomever He wishes of His servants. So the true bequether in every sense is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even if Ahlul Bayt have something, where did they get it from? They got it from Allah. So there's no independence here. We're not saying that Ahlul Bayt somehow have independent power. No, it is all linked to the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So then, why then do we attribute inheritance to others? Why then do we say that, for example, this one inherited from this one, this prophet inherited from that prophet, this father, his son inherited from him? Why do we say these words? Well, of course, it's like anything that happens, any good that happens, it is all linked back to Allah. Whether you receive your income, you receive your salary, you receive your payments, these are all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But why do we say, oh, my boss paid me, my company paid me, my work paid me, my business paid me? Well, these are merely agents. They merely act to assist in the passing of inheritance. They're just part of the process of God. They merely take part in the steps of these things, not that they truly are the owners of that thing in the beginning. Allah owns everything. Allah gives everything to everyone. We are just agents. Okay, so then it takes us to a couple of important questions. On one hand, we are saying, warathatil ambiya, that you have inherited from the prophets. On another hand, we are saying that Ahlul Bayt gave everything they had, everything that anyone has is from Ahlul Bayt. So the prophets, even whatever they have, is from Ahlul Bayt. How can we square this? How can we say, on one hand, prophets took from Ahlul Bayt made it possible for the prophets to have what they have, all their perfections and all of their amazing personalities is from Ahlul Bayt. And then on the other hand, we are saying, but Ahlul Bayt inherited from the prophets. How do we square this? This is our discussion. So we will say, first of all, the exact same question can be asked about Allah Himself. Allah Himself refers to Him as the inheritor. For example, because inheritance is when one person passes away and the one who comes after becomes the owner. Okay, this is one angle of inheritance. So Quran says, Kullu man alayha fan. Surah Rahman 26 and 27. Kullu man alayha fan. Everything on this earth is going to perish. Wa yabka wajhu rabbika dhul jalali wal ikram. But the face of your Lord will last. So it says if he is left after everyone else has perished. It says if, but of course this is not like total reality, because he was there before anyway, and he will be there anyway. But the Quran is trying to say that, look, after you've all perished, don't think this is the end. Don't think that you are the end of this world. Don't think that just because you die, the earth dies, the moon dies, the sun dies, everything is brought to an end. Don't think that's the end of everything. وَيَبْقَى وَجْهُ رَبِّكَ ذُو الْجَلَالِ وَالْإِكْرَامِ. He will still be there. So it's as if the Quran is saying in these two verses, this is 3:180 and 15:23, it's as if he is left after everyone has passed away. It is as if only he is left and he is now control of the earth. So these two verses say, وَلِلَّهِ مِيرَاثُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. To Allah belongs the heritage of the heavens and the earth. وَإِنَّا لَنَحْنُ نُحْيِي وَنُمِيتُ وَنَحْنُ الْوَارِثُونَ. Indeed, it is we who give life and bring death, and we are the inheritors. Why does he say this? Why does he say that I'm the inheritor? Does he really inherit? So are we saying that the earth belonged to someone else for a while and then it passed to God? Well, that's very offensive to God to say that. It's very inaccurate. We can't say that. No, it's because he's making these points that, look, don't think after you pass away that you are everything and nothing will remain. No, I will still be there. Don't think that this earth and everything is just going to perish without any reason, and even I will perish, God forbid. He will remain. Everything returns to him. But this is not even a real reality. Rather, what we will say is that this will become obvious once the world finishes and the hereafter begins. It doesn't happen at that time. It's even now, this whole world and everything in it belongs to Allah. He is truly the owner. He's not going to inherit it as if he's inheriting an inheritance of someone who leaves behind money. No, it is, in the words of Ayatollah Jawadi, he says, this is zuhur, not huduth. This is when it becomes obvious, not when it actually happens. It's not that once the earth dies and everything dies on the earth, then all of a sudden Allah inherits it as if it wasn't his in the beginning. No, it was always his. It's just that you didn't know. Now you will come to know. You thought that you were the controllers of this earth. You thought that you were in charge of everything. You thought that everything belonged to you. It was your house, your car, your family, your life, your clothes. No, it is all going to end up with Allah, in the sense that he will remain. Whether you are there or not, whether the earth is there or not, he is the true owner. So the Imams are not inheritors in the sense that they received something from the prophets that they did not have to begin with, but rather these things become clear in them. So when we think about Nabi Isa, we don't say Nabi Isa's mission finished when he died and that's it, nothing continued. No, they're continuing the same Nabi Isa line, Nabi Musa line, Nabi Nuh line. They are continuing the same pattern, the mission. Don't think that they are doing something different. If you respect and love Rasulullah and the previous prophets, then you have to respect and love the Imams, because they are in the same line. They're doing the same job. They have the same mission. It may be hidden from some people. They may not understand it, but this does not mean it is not true. Just like we said with Allah, just like we said with that God at the moment, some people do not realize that he owns everything. So Allah is saying that, look, once you pass away, I will inherit everything. In other words, don't think that you are independent. Don't think that you are in control. I have always been in control. You didn't know it, but when it comes to the time, you will come to know it. And you will have to actually admit that, yes, oh, our Lord, you were in control all this time. It's just that we didn't realize it. Same thing we can say for other verses. For example, Maliki Yawmiddin. He is the master of the day of judgment. Is he not the master of this world as well? Of course he is. But on the day of judgment, his mastership will become obvious to everybody. They will realize, yes, he was actually in control all this time. He was actually the one running everything. We were not running everything. We thought we were running everything. So here I have a hadith from Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam, from the work of Ayatollah Jawadi. Look at this beautiful hadith. Imam Bakr alayhi salam says to his companions, he says, some people have picked a few of the fruits, but the large expansive river they have left. Now people didn't understand what he meant. So they asked him, what do you mean? What is this large expansive river that they have left? He says, they have left and abandoned the knowledge that God had given to the Holy Prophet. Allah gave all of the previous characteristics, the previous sunnat, the lifestyle, the teachings, of all the prophets from Nabi Adam to the last prophet, our holy prophet, and he collected all of them in the holy prophet. So if Adam had something special, that was in the holy prophet. If Nuh had something special, it was in the holy prophet. If Isa had something special, it was in the holy prophet. Yes, the other prophets are of course ma'soom and they are brilliant personalities, but they don't compare with the holy prophet. They don't compare with our Imams. Our Imams and the holy prophet are way, way above them in that sense. So all of these things which were in different prophets, different perfections to different levels in different prophets, some prophets showed one level of perfection, other prophets showed another level of perfection. All of those things are at the maximum level in the holy prophet. And then he says that Allah collected all of these in the holy prophet. They asked him, what are all of these sunnats? What do you mean by these sunnats? So he says the knowledge of the prophets was all collected in the holy prophet. And then all of that was given to Amirul Mu'mineen. Someone then stood up and said, "Oh Imam, so are you saying that Amirul Mu'mineen is more knowledgeable than the previous prophets?" Imam Baqir alayhi salam says the following. He says to everyone else, he says, listen, look at this person. What is he saying? He says, I have said clearly that Allah has kept all of the knowledge of all of the prophets in Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and then he gave it all of that also to Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. And still this man is asking, are you saying that Amirul Mu'mineen is more knowledgeable than the previous prophet? You know, some of our people also do this. They can't actually grasp this. They can't believe this. Imam Baqir is saying, look, I'm telling you and still you're asking me. Yes, all of the merits and the fazail and the attributes of all of the previous prophets were put into our holy prophet. From our holy prophet, it was given to Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. So not only are they the inheritor of the prophets in terms of knowledge, but all of the kamalat, all of the perfections, all of the attributes, all of the good things in all of the prophets are in A'imma alayhimus salam. Not some, but all. And this is why we say in, for example, Ziyarat-e-Waritha, Assalamu alayka ya waritha Adama sifwatillah. Peace be upon you, O Imam Hussein alayhi salam, because you are the warith, you are the inheritor of Adam, the pure one of Allah. Ya waritha Nuhin nabiyillah. So what we are saying to Imam Hussein alayhi salam in this ziyarat is that we are saying that, O Hussein alayhi salam, we are saying that you inherited all of the good points of all of the ambiya, the safwat of Nabi Adam, the purity, the nubuwat of Nabi Nuh, the khullat and the friendship of Nabi Ibrahim, the ruhullah aspect of Nabi Isa, the habibullah aspect of Rasulullah, the Amirul Mu'mineen aspect, being the leader of all the believers from your father Amirul Mu'mineen. So, you know, these are not just one or two things that they inherited. They are actually all of those things in the previous prophets. They are found in A'imma alayhim salam. Another hadith. In the Ziyarat of Amirul Mu'mineen, we say the following. Assalamu ala warithi ilmin nabiyyin. Peace be upon the inheritor of the knowledge of all of the prophets. In other words, whatever is found in the prophets to a lesser extent is found in you to the maximum extent. وَوَارِثَ عِلْمِ النَّبِيِّينَ وَالْمُرْسَلِينَ. In another sentence we say, you are the inheritor of all of the knowledge of all of the prophets and all of the mursaleen. And then we have the following from Rasulullah. Ya ibadallah, man arada an yandura ila Adama fi jalalatihi wa ila Sheeth fi hikmatihi wa ila Idris fi nabahatihi wa mahabatihi wa ila Nuhin fi shukrihi li rabbihi wa ibadatihi wa ila Ibrahim fi wafaihi, etc., etc., etc. I'll just translate. Oh, servants of God, whoever wishes to see Adam in his majesty, Sheeth in his knowledge, Idris in his awe, AWE in his awe, Nuh in the way he used to be thankful to Allah and in his worship. Ibrahim in his loyalty and in his friendship with Allah. Musa in the way he used to stand strong against the enemies of God. Isa in the way he used to love and be compassionate towards other believers and mix with them. Then he should look at the face of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. In other words, you want to see all of these different things that you've heard about the prophets? They're all in Amirul Mu'mineen. Look at Amirul Mu'mineen. So this is what we mean by warathitil ambiya wa warathatil ambiya. Now we have mentioned Imam Hussein and we have mentioned Amirul Mu'mineen, but this is not just limited to these two Imams, because whatever one Imam possesses is transferred to the next Imam. Now let's look at a few sentences from the great beloved scholar Ayatollah Zia Abadi. That was Agha Jawadi until now. Now we'll go on to some of the content of Agha Zia Abadi. Again, he makes this point. He says, the inheritance of the Imams from the Prophets is not like the inheritance of a son from his father. It's a different type of inheritance. Because the Prophets, whatever they have, is merely droplets from the ocean of the Imams, from their position of wilayat. And then he gives the same example. He says, it is like the way we say about Allah, وَلِلَّهِ مِيرَاثُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ, to Allah belongs the heritage or the inheritance of the heavens and the earth. And then he says, so here in this verse, are we trying to say that the heavens and the earth exist as kind of objects that are owned by someone and then inherited by God? So are we saying that he didn't own it once upon a time and now he owns it? Is the Quran saying that you, human beings, you were the owners, now you've died, now it's come as inheritance to Allah? Not at all. It is rather Allah saying that, you know what? This is mine. Whatever you find in it, I am the real owner. I have given it to you. Don't think for a minute that it is yours. Even when all the beings of the earth and all of the beings of the heavens die, it will still be mine and will return to me. So whatever they have in, whatever the Imams have, whatever the Prophets have, is from the position of the wilayat of Ahlulbayt. It has been said in some ahadith, no prophet was confirmed as a prophet unless and until he acknowledged the wilayat of Amirul Mu'mineen and the other Imams. Also, it has been said in some ahadith that no previous generation could last and subsist except that they had to recognize the position of Hazrat Zahra. Whether that means the previous prophets, there's a little bit of a discussion there. Probably it means the previous prophets, because of them recognizing Bibi Fatima, their generations were able to exist and subsist, and they were able to do what they did. So Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam are the source of whatever the prophets have. It will eventually return to them, which it did return to them, in the same principle as whatever is in existence is God's and will return to him. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We are belonging to God and we will return to him. The same thing that we will say about the prophets. Whatever they have is from Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Whatever Ahlul Bayt have is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This inheritance, so-called inheritance, comes back to Ahlul Bayt. In other words, you'll see it all come back and return to them. The same way we say about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Agha Zia Abadi, he goes into a different area and he starts talking about inheritance regarding Bibi Fatima. I will very quickly go through this because it's very well known. But he brings the incident regarding the end of life of Janab Fatima, where of course you know that when she went to claim her right of ownership of Fadak, which had been stolen from her, Abu Bakr, he dared to make up a hadith. Ayatollah Zia Abadi makes it clear that when Abu Bakr said the hadith, the first part is correct. The second part is a lie. The first part is this, which is correct. This is correct. Innal ambiya. Verily the prophets. Lam yuwarrithu dinaran wala dirhaman. They don't leave behind the inheritance of money and these kinds of things. Walakin warathul ilm. They leave behind knowledge. فَمَنْ أَخَذَ مِنْهُ أَخَذَ بِحَظٍ وَافِرٍ. Whoever takes from the knowledge has indeed taken a brilliant thing and a great share of something very special. That is correct, of course. So Ayatollah Zia Abadi, he says that this we have no problem with. Of course, what we are trying to say in this hadith is that the prophets of God were not like normal businessmen and worldly people. They were not concerned with the worldly possessions, and they didn't exist to make money and to make a nice, comfortable life for themselves. That wasn't their mission at all. That wasn't their mindset at all. What they left behind, the precious thing that they left behind for people, is knowledge. Of course, this we have no problem with. Then Abu Bakr makes up the next part. The next part is that he makes up and he basically lies. He says that, and the Prophet then said that ma taraknahu sadaqatan, whatever we, the Prophets, leave behind is sadaqah. So it should come into the ownership of the Muslims. It should become part of the treasury. The ruler should have right over it. It shouldn't go to the family members. He added that part. That is totally wrong. We regard that as a lie. The first part we are okay with. That, their real inheritance is not this worldly riches and money and stuff. Their real inheritance is their knowledge. Of course, they may have had certain small amount of property and wealth which passed down to their children, no problem. But the true thing that they left for humanity was their knowledge. But this part is untrue. Now, don't go into the personal life of the Prophet and whatever he leaves behind. That he made up, where he said that whatever we leave behind is sadaqah and it should be given to the Muslim ruler and it becomes part of the Muslim's property. No, this we don't agree. So then Bibi Fatima, of course, she spoke out. She said this is not true. This is not true on a number of levels. Number one, the Quran says that, for example, Sulaiman inherited from Dawood. It says, for example, that whatever the prophets leave behind of their personal property, of course, that is not for the Muslims. That is for their family members as per Islamic law. Thirdly, this was not even inheritance anyway. This was actually something given in the life of the Prophet. But this is the lie that was fabricated by Abu Bakr, backed up by Umar, thrown in the face of Hazrat Zahra, made her feel very upset. Many things then happened, which I don't want to go into right now, but you all know the history. Many, many things happened that they abused her. She was struck. She was violently treated. She was attacked in her home. And towards the end of her life, of course, they came to say sorry and to ask her forgiveness. She did not allow them entry. They went via Amirul Mu'mineen. They said, look, we want to speak to Zahra, salamullahi alayha. He says to Bibi Fatima that, will you allow them in? She says, Al-Baytu Baytuk, the house is your house. Whatever you say, I will do. He allowed them in. They came to her. They asked her for forgiveness. She turned her face. They said salam to her. She did not reply. And then she says, I want to say one thing to you, and after this, I will never speak to you. She says, did you or did you not hear the Prophet say these words? Fatima tu bad'atu minni. Fatima is a part of me. Man aadaha faqad aadani. Whoever hurts her has hurt me. Waman aadani faqad aadallah. Whoever hurts me has hurt Allah. They said, yes, we did hear your father say these words. So then she says, in that case, I declare, Khudaya, O Allah, you be a witness, and anyone here, all of you bear witness that these two people have hurt me, and I am not happy with them, and I will take my complaint about them to my father. So he says basically regarding inheritance, he finishes with the zikr of Bibi Fatima. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the wasila of Janab Fatima to forgive our sins, and we ask him especially to make Imam Zaman happy with us, inshallah. There is another whole part of this discussion which Agha Jawadi goes into, which is Al-Ulama'u warathatul ambiya, that the ulama are the inheritors of the prophets as well, in a different sense, from another angle. But I think we won't go into that, otherwise we'll need another session or two to discuss that. I think we'll finish here with warathatil ambiya. Okay, let's have a look at the questions. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum salam. In Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah says, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا, and He taught Hazrat Adam Asma. So did Imam Ali knew all the knowledge before even Hazrat Adam? Yes. Yes, that's exactly correct. Imam Ali alayhi salam knew all that knowledge before even Hazrat Adam. Yes, because Imam Ali alayhi salam and the Panjatan, as we've covered in previous sessions, were created much, much, much before anything else was created, and they were anwaran. They were noors around the arsh of Allah. Even the malaika, the angels, learn from them. Even the tasbihat of the malaika was learned from Ahlulbayt. Everything anyone knows is from the knowledge of Ahlulbayt, and everything and anything that Ahlulbayt know is from the knowledge of Allah. So that was our discussion on warathatil ambiya, and inshallah next session we will start covering wal mathalil a'la, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.